Grandpa teaches English. Subscribe now.
I sit under the green tree. I sit under the green tree. I stand below the high hill. I stand below the high hill. I stand under the large umbrella. I stand under the large umbrella. I look below the wooden deck. I look below the wooden deck. I walk over the small bridge. I walk over the small bridge. The clock is above the shelf. The clock is above the shelf. I step over the water puddle. I step over the water puddle. The light is above the table. The light is above the table. I hold the coat over the chair. I hold the coat over the chair. The sky is above the mountain. The sky is above the mountain. I stand under the bridge. I stand under the bridge. I look below the hill. I look below the hill. I sleep under the blanket. I sleep under the blanket. The plane flies over the city. The plane flies over the city. The painting hangs above the sofa. The painting hangs above the sofa. I jump over the fence. I jump over the fence. The birds soar above the clouds. The birds soar above the clouds. I place the lid over the pot. I place the lid over the pot. The temperature is below zero. The temperature is below zero. I hold the sign above my head. I hold the sign above my head. I walk under the stone archway. I walk under the stone archway. The sun sinks below the horizon. The sun sinks below the horizon. I crawl under the low table. I crawl under the low table. The helicopter hovers over the building. The helicopter hovers over the building. The mirror hangs above the sink. The mirror hangs above the sink. I throw the ball over the net. I throw the ball over the net. The stars shine above the city. The stars shine above the city. I pull the tarp over the car. I pull the tarp over the car. The submarine dives below the waves. The submarine dives below the waves. I raise my hands above the water. I stand under the balcony. I stand under the balcony. The valley lies below the castle. The valley lies below the castle. I hide under the large box. I hide under the large box. The drone hovers over the park. The drone hovers over the park. The shelf is above the desk. The shelf is above the desk. I step over the low wire. I step over the low wire. The eagle flies above the trees. The eagle flies above the trees. I throw the blanket over the sofa. I throw the blanket over the sofa. The fish swim below the surface. The fish swim below the surface. I hold my hands above the flame. I hold my hands above the flame. I sit under the porch roof. I sit under the porch roof. The sun is below the mountain. The sun is below the mountain. I hide under the wooden bench. I hide under the wooden bench. The bridge passes over the highway. The bridge passes over the highway. The lamp is above the desk. The lamp is above the desk. I step over the stone block. I step over the stone block. The clouds roll above the valley. The clouds roll above the valley. I put the cover over the grill. I put the cover over the grill. The valley floor is below the cliff. The valley floor is below the cliff. I lift the cup above the table. I lift the cup above the table. I sit under the treehouse. I sit under the treehouse. The village lies below the ridge. The village lies below the ridge. I wait under the concrete awning. I wait under the concrete awning. The drone flies over the field. The drone flies over the field. The map hangs above the table. The map hangs above the table. I step over the thick rope. I step over the thick rope. The helicopter flies above the clouds. The helicopter flies above the clouds. I place the sheet over the mattress. I place the sheet over the mattress. The water level is below the mark. The water level is below the mark. I sit under the beach tent. I sit under the beach tent. The city lies below the peak. The city lies below the peak. I stand under the storefront canopy. I stand under the storefront canopy. The bird flies over the lake. The bird flies over the lake. The mirror hangs above the dresser. The mirror hangs above the dresser. I step over the metal bar. I step over the metal bar. The plane glides above the storm. The plane glides above the storm. I place the cloth over the table. I place the cloth over the table. The valley is below the viewpoint. The valley is below the viewpoint. I hold the trophy above my head. I hold the trophy above my head. I stand under the stadium roof. I stand under the stadium roof. The valley lies below the skywalk. The valley lies below the skywalk. I rest under the garden pergola. I rest under the garden pergola. The river flows below the bridge. The river flows below the bridge. I step over the concrete curb. I step over the concrete curb. The banner hangs above the gate. The banner hangs above the gate. I jump over the small stream. I jump over the small stream. The moon shines above the ocean. The moon shines above the ocean. I wait under the bus shelter. I wait under the bus shelter. The portrait hangs above the fireplace. The portrait hangs above the fireplace. I stand under the waterfall. I stand under the waterfall. The town lies below the cliff. The town lies below the cliff. I walk under the scaffolding. I walk under the scaffolding. The city lights are below the plain. The city lights are below the plain. I step over the fallen log. I step over the fallen log. The chandelier hangs above the table. The chandelier hangs above the table. I jump over the low wall. I jump over the low wall. The flag flies above the roof. The flag flies above the roof. I place the cover over the bike. I place the cover over the bike. The shelf is above the television. The shelf is above the television.